Hello everyone, I am Plankera, and today we're going to continue rigging Shalom from Path to Nowhere. Just had some technical difficulties with the music for a second there. Somehow the playlist that I was using got deleted. I'm not sure how that happened, but I rebuilt it real quick, and so hopefully everything will be back to normal. And everything will be fine. If not, I might have to take a second to go take a look at that again. I'm not sure what happened, but it's alright. I think everything's good now, so I'll just jump right back into some of the things that I was seeing before stream here when I was taking a look, before I noticed that the music exploded. So I just noticed that I wanted some of the strands around here to go a little further over. Her head was looking a little bit puffy here. So I wanted to move all these hair strands over here just a little bit further to the right. Just trying to find all the layers I need to move here. And some of those are probably going to need to be tweaked a little bit, but that's alright. I'll do that when the time comes. And over here, I kind of wanted to push these a little bit more inward as well. Make it look like it's more going behind her. And that does mean that these other strands are going to have to move considerably too. So I'll try this, and if I don't like it, I'll go back to the history and just undo it all. No big deal. Sometimes you just gotta try stuff, but I just got the impression that her head was kind of puffy. Just kind of puffy. So I just want to send these strands a little bit further back too. I have to remember what layer all of these are. There's so much hair. Okay, so let's try this. It's a little bit lumpy still, but that'll be something I can adjust. Yeah, I do think that overall this is a bit better. Obviously it needs to be cleaned up, but in terms of rough sketching, I think this is pretty good. For the time being, I'm still going to be very much focused on her hair part here, where they separate into the left and right sides. So I'm not going to worry further down too much. In fact, I'm going to zoom in nice and far so I can't even see it. So hopefully it won't bother me too much. Alright, so I guess the first thing is I just need to correct some of these big areas that I very carelessly moved around. Did all those big movements, and now things are just kind of all over the place, and it's time to get them to go back into good spots. So let's see, I do feel like this part right here is sticking out a bit. It might be a little bit too round. I remember I was going hard and trying to make some amount of three-dimensional effect yesterday. But I think I might have done a little bit too much. Let's try to bring it back just a little. Not too much. Overall, I do think it looks pretty alright. I just kind of want to tuck this in a little bit. A lot of it might also be all the big movements that I just did. Because that changed things considerably. And if I recall, when I was rigging that the first time, most of the hair layers were turned off. Whereas now all of the hair layers are on. So that probably changes a lot too. After all, with rigging, everything is relative. Everything only exists in proportion to everything else that was there as well. Not quite. So let's see here. How exactly do I want to go about doing this? It's hard to find the right balance of right and left here, of just, I want things to floof out, but not in the wrong way. And that balance can be tricky. But it looks like I'm most of the way there. So I'm just going to do some fine adjustments on the vertices directly here. Yeah, there we go. Oh, autosave. Making me pause for a second. It's okay, sometimes those pauses can be useful. It gave me a second to think about what I was doing there. And it's not that long. Still feel like it's going a bit too far to the left. Or right. Yes, I know the difference between left and right, I promise. So let's see here. Yeah, I think I'm mostly there. Just, I don't know, there's something around this area that's just not quite right. I don't know how to describe its not quite rightness. But when I look at it in motion, nothing is quite doing what I want it to do. So let's try again. It's weird, because I do kind of like showing more of this shadow here, but at the same time, I'm wondering if that's causing some of this sliding feeling I'm getting. Probably a little. Maybe I need to go harder in that tunnel. Make it a little bit bigger. Maybe the tunnel is just not quite in the right place, because I notice that the area around here isn't showing more shadow like some of the other areas around this part is. So maybe I just need to find the right proportion of shadow to show. I don't know, maybe something like that. I'll see if that's closer to what I'm going for or further away, because I'm not quite sure. Closer, but also further. I think I understand what I'm saying. It'd be kind of hard to describe problems. These are the kinds of things that I look at. Okay, yeah, that's closer. Now I just have to worry about this shadow area. I actually did look into some eye tracking software, so that this way you guys could see where I'm staring when I do my super intense staring to find problems. But, unfortunately there aren't very many options out there. And the options that I did find, not free. There is an open source project in the works, so I subscribe to their newsletter, but no idea when that'll be finished. And they're not releasing things to the public right now. I'm under the impression that it is out on Git. I didn't look too deeply into it, and maybe I could build it myself if I felt inclined to try. I might check it out again. But I do think that would be nice to have, but a lot of the options out there are just super expensive. And even the couple that I've found that weren't super expensive, it's like, I don't know. I don't know if I want to use stuff that costs too much money. Just, you know, me being poor aside. It also means that I'd be... The more paid stuff that I use in my stream, the more it becomes something that becomes harder and harder to replicate. Because personally, when it comes to creativity, it's like I think everyone can do it. If you find the right tools and you have the desire to make something, I think everyone can do it. And part of making this stream was to show that it can be done, because my budget was extremely low here. I'm pretty sure 100% of it was spent on hardware. Because all the software I use is free and open source, so the main things that you would need is a really good computer. And the more stuff that I use that's not free, the further I get away from that. Even in terms of the model, there's ways you can go cheaper or even free if you kind of invest your money into the right places. Just going for, you know, a simpler model or more of a ping tuber thing or, you know, whatever else. There are ways it can be done. And you know, if you're not sure what to do, feel free to drop me any kind of comment or message me on Instagram or Twitter or something, and I'll see what I can figure out for you. Okay, so at this point I think the problem is more in this underneath area than it is the actual strand of hair. So I'm just taking a bit of time to kind of figure that out. Perspective is everywhere. Sometimes if one area starts seeming right, it's time to look at another one. Approach the problem from another angle. See what I can do with some of this. Not 100% sure where I'm going, but I'm going somewhere, and that's what's important, right? All I can do is keep trying things and see how it works out. Sometimes when I try something, even if it's wrong, it can help make the actual problem more clear. And I do think I'm getting closer. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with this little pink part right there. It doesn't quite know what it's doing right now. So I'm gonna try to help it figure out what the heck is going on, you know? Let's see. Yeah, I do think that is getting closer. I just kind of have to find the right proportion. So let's look very, very closely at what's going on here. And right now it looks like it's moving downward. So I just need to move some parts of it further up here. Further up. Maybe something like that. I don't know. Let's see what that did. That does seem closer. But there's still some shenanigans around here. So let's see if I can't figure that out. Just one step at a time. Just keep it simple. Try to find exactly one spot to try out, and then I'll try some other things after. I think that's pretty okay, honestly. That one little spot that I was looking at is pretty okay, at least. There's a couple more things I want to fix around here. But overall, I do think it's pretty close, and I do think it is helping making this bang look more correct. Nope, overdid it. I changed my mind, it's not right anymore. The hazards of staring in one place for too long. See, this is why I'm not worried about the crunchiness in other areas. Now when my brain starts to get tired of looking at one spot, I can move on to a different spot. And everything will look new and exciting, and my brain will be like, whoa. And then I can figure that out, and when my brain starts getting tired of looking at that spot, well, I can just move to another one. Just keep going. Never stops. It's okay, it's how it should be. Okay, I think that's looking a lot better now. This is why I kind of wanted to do some of the broad strokes yesterday. Whereas for some of the initial anchor points, like around here, I just wanted to really focus in on them and get them perfect. But now that they exist, and I have a degree of trust in what I'm doing, and that everything is in a good spot, now I can kind of start putting everything down all at once. And since everything is based off of the location of everything near it, now that they're all here, I probably won't have to redo quite as many things. Because it's all right here now. It's all right here. Okay. So yes, I'm much happier with this now. So now I think I can go in and really focus on this dark part right there. Just try to get everything good here. Because I think that'll give me some clues onto how the tunnel should be as well. I think it is a good idea if you're having trouble with one spot, just look for any problems you can, try to fix those first. And failing that, try some of the areas around it too, because they might kind of inform each other. The environment does affect everything after all. Alright, I think that's already doing much better. Still a little bit of wiggling in ways I don't like. But definitely better. Definitely better. So let's see. What wiggles do I not like here? That is the question. Something about the angle of this highlight here. Something about it is just not quite behaving right. Almost feels like it's twisting and being rotated. I think part of it is that this needs to be a little bit higher just because of how I changed the angle elsewhere. And then for the rest, let me see if I can change the angle back to being a little bit flatter without messing everything else up. It's always the question, can you make these changes without messing up everything else? Perhaps a bit of an unfortunate question, but an important one nonetheless. Now that's going too high now. Okay, so that didn't quite work. Pull this back down. I guess this isn't too bad, though. Still has a little bit of that rotational feel. But it's better, I think? Question mark? I say with minimal confidence. It's okay. If I don't have the confidence yet, it just means I have to try more things. Okay. I want to look at this strand now. Do I like the way that this pink highlight here, disappears behind this strand? Like, currently I think it's moving a bit strangely. Which I think is also interfering with my ability to properly look at that highlight. So let's take a look at this strand. That'll be this layer. Yes, I remembered correctly this time. Just try to get a little bit of that highlight peeking through. See if that helps any. See if that helps any at all. I'm gonna try pushing some of this back down just a little bit there. But yeah, now I've kind of got that highlight peeking through. And it'll have some of that strand separation. And yes, I do think that looks much better already. Not completely right, but much better. Alright, so let's work on that strand a little bit more. So I think a little bit more needs to be peeking through over here. We'll go in here, we'll round this out, and we'll just let some of these parts peek. I'll play peekaboo with everything around them. Just go ahead and shyly peek out of there. Yep, that's much better. And then there's a shadow area right in here that I want to peek to. Everything gets to peek a little bit. There we go. Yeah, now that I think there's better separation in the hair. Still distorting a little bit. That's alright. Just tweak that a little and push everything a little bit more to the side here. Push this down. Do some little things here and there. Up a little bit. Still not quite there. Still not quite there. Just gonna pull things over a little bit further here. Pull this down a little bit, I think. There we go. I only want a little bit of that shadow to show. Oh yeah, okay, there we go. I think the right amount is showing now. Now I just have to get this curve leading into that shadow looking a bit straighter. And if it interferes with the shadow there, I just adjust these vertices a little bit and get it to peek back out again. No big deal. Still going a little bit too high, I think. So I'll just push it on down. And that should help. A little bit of push and pull on both sides here. Alright. I think that's a lot better. So now what I'm seeing is some shifting going on this strand again. I knew that this strand wasn't completely done yet, but I needed a little bit of help from the other strand to help me figure out where things should go. But now I've figured out some things, so I think I can revisit this strand. Try to get everything where it should go. That's actually a lot better than it was. Even just a little while ago. Nice. Alright, now that I'm feeling more comfortable with everything going on over here, let's look at this highlight again. Let's try to get that highlight going into the right place. Honestly, it's always kind of amazing to me just how big of a difference those little touches can make. Stretch here. Arms cramping up slightly. Oh. Alright. Much better. So back to figuring out this. Alright, I have a couple of new clues now. And I think I want to tuck this in just a little bit here. Not too much. Just a little bit. Ever so slightly. Oh yeah, that's much better. Heck yeah. Alright, now I think the next thing that's actually making it a little bit hard for me to see is actually in these highlights. Because it looks like this dark area between the highlights is kind of shifting downward. So, that means I kind of want to get him in a good spot. So let's see. Maybe if I just straighten out these triangles, that'll fix all my problems. It's worked before. Maybe it'll work again. Honestly, a little bit. Not 100%, but even just straightening them out a bit at least stopped the shifting that I was seeing. Now I just kind of need to get the right angle here. Because I was making them super round when on here you can see they're not super round. So maybe to an extent it makes sense to make them super round since the hair is wrapping around her head here, but I don't know. It looks a bit strange in motion. Okay, that's not a result of that layer. I just thought here was looking a bit flat, so I thought I'd go make it rounder, and it turns out not even because of that layer. It's because of this one. So I'll go tuck these triangles in a little bit, so this way it shows a little bit more of the highlights underneath here. And that should make things the right shape. That should make things the right shape. Just need to find where exactly all this should go, because you can see that if I push things wrong, it gets really weird. Shape is just all wrong. I gotta find the right place for that. Right, I don't know. It still looks a little bit wrinkly. Am I crazy? Let's take a look. Okay, to be fair, it's a little bit wrinkly in the front view too, so that's probably related to what I'm seeing. Okay, but I do feel like it's getting close. Very close. That's why I'm just doing all these fine movements. Super, super fine, super subtle. Just trying to get the right amount of roundness here. And we'll see how it all works out. Okay, now I think the shifting that I'm seeing in this highlight is actually from the layer the highlight is on. So let's go take a look at that. Where'd it go? There it is. Me losing track of my layers. That never happens. Something like that. I just saw a little bit of shifting around some of these other colored areas here. Alright, I think that's looking pretty good overall. As the way it's kind of draping through here. I think I might want that to be a little bit rounder though. Let's see if I can get away with that. I want to try it. Because I like round things. Circles are great. Maybe. I'm not actually entirely sold on that. But I think I need to look somewhere else for a little bit, so... let's look at this guy. Because I can already tell that this guy is just going way out into outer space there. Oh no, you're probably on the right side, aren't you? Yeah. So let's go push him back over here. Doesn't need to be going all the way to the other side there. Just a little bit. So he can meet up with all his friendly hair strands surrounding him. There we go. Something like that. Now I want to try to get the angle of the black area in there a little bit more correct. Because it was kind of... yeah, it was completely wrong. That's probably the best way to put it. It was just wrong. Okay, and then I think this corner needs to be higher up. I'm also trying to make sure that it actually covers the areas that it needs to cover. Like, where it was before, you were seeing part of her head, like right through there. Because it just wasn't covering that part of her head. And that was kind of its job. That was half of its purpose in life. And now, I'm giving it back. I can just go and fill those holes. So let's slide that down just a little bit. Try to get this angle right here. Yeah, there we go. That's already looking a lot better. And now, let me see, I think the part that I care about here may not even be on this layer. Yeah, I think it's probably up on this layer. And I don't think I'm quite ready to touch him yet. So let's come back down to these two strands. Now that that area is more correct. Do I have some clues? Do I have some clues that I can use? Maybe. Let's see here. It does feel like it's shifting upward there. So maybe if I fix that, I'll see some other potential issues. I'm pretty sure that shifting upward is not the issue that I'm seeing, but it is a issue that I'm seeing. Let's try to fix that, and then we can go from there. One step at a time, focus on what I can see rather than what I can't. It'll be fine. I'll figure it out. You know, it's times like this that I'm glad that I stream every day and that I stream the same thing every day, and I just keep going until I finish it, rather than juggling multiple projects. Because I've seen a lot of streamers that play a lot of different games. Multiple games in a single week, and have multiple ongoing games. In fact, I'd go as far as to say that's the norm, rather than the exception. And they always seem to lose their place. They don't always remember what's going on, and they forget details. Well, that never happens with me, because I'm working on this every day. Every single day. So I can remember what I was doing yesterday. I mean, I always joke about not remembering what myself of 30 seconds ago was doing. But for the most part, I can remember what I was doing. I can remember what I was thinking about. And there are absolutely people that can juggle multiple projects out there. Not just in terms of streaming, but in terms of creativity and art and stuff. And to an extent, I do as well. Like, because I'm showing 100% of the process on stream here, if I want to do anything else after stream, I have to have a second project going. I don't. Because, I mean, I want to stream the entire process of these. But overall, I prefer to keep the amount of stuff that I'm working on pretty small. It's a personal preference. I imagine it's one of those things that might be different for different people. I think it's a little bit sad to forget what you were thinking about the last time that you were working on something. At least for me, odds are, if I stop working on something for a while, start new things, I'm just not going to finish the previous one. And I think that's fine. Not all things have to be finished. Sometimes you're just done. But overall, I do like to finish the things I start as much as I can. I think it's a good way to be. So I am curious. What's your creative process like? Mine, I feel like it's chaotic in a lot of ways, but also very easy to follow in others. Like I was describing there, of just me wanting to finish whatever it is that I'm working on before I move on to new things. I think that's pretty easy to follow, pretty easy to understand. Because it's like, you know, tomorrow, if you decide to come watch whatever it is I'm doing, you know it'll probably be the same thing. And you'll get to see the rest of the process. But on the other hand, my process also relies heavily on experimentation, just trying things, and a lot of flailing and not necessarily having any idea of what I'm actually doing. Especially when it comes to drawing, where when I'm doing that initial sketch, where I'm just tearing apart various areas and stitching them back together and just trying to find something that I like. Still remember when I was working on Ines and just pulling things apart, and I'm just like, yes, you need to make things more ninja, more flippy. And that made perfect sense in my head. And so, the more I just fiddled with the pose and moved things around, the more everything started coming together a bit. Okay, I need to hide this. That layer was kind of interfering with my ability to see what was going on. That's why I'm curious and what your process is like. Would you rate it as more or less chaotic than mine? So yeah, I guess another area that I'd consider mine a little bit more chaotic than most people's is that because I don't use line art or anything, the process from start to finish changes quite a lot. I've seen a lot of people, they just, they do the sketch, and then they do the inking, and then from there they put down base colors, and then they shade it, and everything is nice and orderly. Whereas with me, I'm like, okay, I look at it, and I'm like, okay, what part of it is bothering me most today? And then I fix that part. So the order I do things is like super random. Very inconsistent. And if I don't know what to work on, I just go top to bottom. Or I guess, what's further in front to what's further in back. And that works for me. It keeps things interesting. I don't really like having any particular rules on which part that I do next. Just go on and do whatever I feel like that particular day. Keeps things exciting and means that I always have something to look forward to. That said, I do think it's wrong to say that I have, like, no particular process. Like, when I was working on this model at first, I think I spent like the first week or something, maybe even a bit more than that, just meshing everything. Wait a second. Alright, there we go. Just had to clear my throat and didn't want to cough in your ears. But yes, I spent the first, like, week or something just meshing everything. And that was pretty tedious, but it was definitely something I had to do. And I do have a taste for just getting the foundational blocks out of the way first. But I must admit that when I'm drawing, as much as I do try to get proportions and perspective and all of that down first, I rarely get it right away, and I don't always notice. So I tend to be correcting those throughout the entire process. Art is hard. I guess it's what to say. I guess the easy way to say it is, I don't fully understand my process. I just like to make things. And I'll just keep poking at whatever is bothering me the most that particular day. And that kind of determines what I do. In some ways it might make me less efficient, but I think I'm okay with that. It keeps me going, and I finish a large percentage of the pictures I actually start. Not 100%. But a lot of them. So let's see here. I just noticed that the area around the highlight here was also a little bit off, and that might be contributing to what was making me see things around here. So maybe there's nothing actually wrong with that highlight. Maybe it was everything around it that was wrong. Oh, that'd be a sad state of affairs, wouldn't it? It's like, no, there's nothing wrong with you. It's everyone else that's wrong. feel that sometimes. Don't worry, little strand. I believe in you. Okay, but this is looking much better. I'm starting to become satisfied with it. Always a nice place to be in. I want to be satisfied, but not complacent. Okay, nope, that was not good. Yeah, I think this is probably okay, actually. Alright, let's go turn those other shrines back on. This one, and... who is up behind, right? Strand. There it is, behind. Okay. Yeah, now that I'm much more confident in this area, I can look at this area. And now I see how that's shifting a bit weirdly. Maybe I'm not quite ready for the behind yet. Let's go back to just this area. Try to get all that right. Okay, so the spot that's bothering me most here is the shape of this back part. It needs to be much rounder. Much rounder. That's okay, because I like making things rounder. It makes me happy. Okay, and then I think the other part is the angle of that little pink highlight. Not exactly sure, but I can tell that the angle is changing considerably. I think it needs to go more like this. More like this. Okay, I'm not going to concern myself with stuff that's that far down. But let's see if that fixed the issue that I had with that highlight here. Okay, it's shifting downward, but otherwise, I think it's looking pretty good. Yes, that helped a lot. That was a good change. Now let's just push everything back up. That was a pretty big shift downward, so I did a pretty big shift back up. Oh wow, it wasn't even enough. Well, I guess, no, it was enough. I just, there was more. There was more further down. So we'll get all that too. Everyone shall be uplifted. Okay, so now that we have that little area showing and a little area at the right angle mostly, still a few tweaks here and there. How's it doing? I'm getting close. Getting so close I can smell it. I'm surprised at how much I'm actually having to push this out, though. Never realized how important this little highlight was. The thing is, you learn. That'll be an idea I can take into future drawings, I think. just how important those little areas of separation are, and how much they do for the picture. New lessons from rigging about how to draw. I think this is one of the reasons I like rigging. I learn new things about art every day because of it. It's all very exciting. Okay. So I do want to make sure that everything stays behind this strand, but it looks like that strand's going to have to move a little bit anyway. So I have a little bit of flexibility about where I put things. Because right now everything down there is just kind of crunchy and weird. But I want to use this lower area to help me figure out where this spot should be. Because it's been looking a little odd to me. I haven't been quite sure how to fix it. Ah, sneezed. Managed to mute it before it came out this time. This way I won't be too loud in your guys' ears. I do want to have a very nice, soft stream that you can kind of just relax and possibly even fall asleep to. Or at the very least, draw to. And having loud sounds suddenly go off in your ear, kind of counterproductive to that. Okay. I think this highlight area is probably good enough for now. I'll work on the rest when I start going down the strands and figuring out what the tips look like. For now, still just want to focus in on the part. And because I'm having trouble figuring out what the heck is going on here, I've just been focusing on the parts over here that I can see, like the angle of that highlight being wrong and how it's all shifting upward now. And how I want to pull that down. So I'm gonna go do that. Notice a problem, fix a problem. That is my process. I mean, if you do it enough times, eventually you'll have something pretty good. You do it until you don't notice any more problems, and you're probably got a good picture, right? I think so. Okay, I think it's still shifting upward a little bit. So I'll just go in and adjust it. Something like that. Okay, yeah, that's much better. Okay. Time to stop procrastinating. Let's get on up here. Up into the base of the part here. Probably, you know, the most important part. The part that will inform pretty much everything else going on in this area. The part of the part. It's funny that these terms kind of match up, but I'd been worrying a little bit about that, fearing that it may be too confusing or unclear of what I'm actually referring to. But I don't know how else to refer to this other than a hair part. Are there other terms for it? I'm not sure. Just think it's funny how it works out of that the hair has some of the most parts and then it also has part as a technical term. Language is trolling me, man. I think language does that a lot, honestly. I just always wonder how these terms come to be. Like, I guess calling it a part makes sense because it's like word part's like a waterfall. But, I was just talking about this with my husband of just where did the term eats them for breakfast come from? I'm actually kind of curious about that. I might look it up. Of when you say you eat something for breakfast, what does it mean that you can just, like, it's not a big deal and it's just easy and no problem. Like, I guess eating something for breakfast implies a degree of that it's mundane, normal, and that you don't even think about it. Because, I don't know, do people normally think about eating breakfast? At least in a society where there's not much food scarcity. I mean, to an extent it makes sense, but it was just very funny to me. Just one of those things. I'm very easily amused. Okay, I think this is starting to look pretty good. Let me go back to the underneath over on the right side here. It looks like it was kind of shifting a bit. Still kind of does. I'm probably going to have to mess with that a bit. Let's actually go and hide a few strands of hair here. No, not that one. This one. And this one. The part that I want to look at is right here. Unfortunately, I know that half of that is on a different layer. But it looks like the half that I'm caring about right now is on this layer. Let's see what I can do with it. Let's see what I can do with this. I don't know. So that didn't quite do it. What is the problem here? Sometimes it can be hard to tell. And I can tell that my brain is kind of reaching the end of what I'll be able to do for today. It's because rigging is hard. And there's so many little details and my brain gets a bit overwhelmed by it all. Normally what I'd do in these circumstances is I'd look away for a little bit or have something else that I'm kind of doing at the same time. A lot of the times I might, be listening to a stream or a podcast at the same time, and if it's something with visuals, I can go up and look at that for a little while, and that helps. That's not something I can do live, really. I don't really want to be listening to things that I can get a copyright strike on my account for. That would be bad. So I just kind of keep going as long as I can. And it does limit the amount of time I can work on the same thing. I do need those little breaks in order to keep going for a long time, but with them I can go for like 6 or 8 hours, man. I can go all day. The limiting factor there is that my kids wake up eventually and want attention. They're still very little and are not inclined to just let me do my own thing yet. It's like someday they will, and I'm sure when that day comes I'll miss when they never stopped bothering me. And on the bright side, I'll probably get more art done then. Trade-offs in life. They're always a bit rough, aren't they? Having free will is hard. But it's alright, I wouldn't have it any other way. I would not have it any other way. I enjoy my free will. Just go out and do the things. I do think I'm getting pretty close on all this. Like, look at that. We have several strands in place today. Like, really, really strongly in place. Unlike yesterday, where I mostly just did the big picture. Here, a lot of the details are doing much better now. And it's all kind of coming together. I'm sure the right head turn will be done before long. And then I just need to do up and down. The dreaded Y head turns. I do think they're harder than the X ones overall, but just because, I don't know, perspective is weird and hard to understand and all that stuff. I'm probably about done for today. I think my brain is starting to reach its limit. It's getting kind of tired. And I'm sure I can continue rambling for an insane person for another hour if I really tried, but I can already feel myself getting quieter and quieter. Hey, it's hard to talk and do art at the same time. But I also kind of want to finish what I started. I don't like leaving things half done. But we'll see if my brain is feeling up for it. I mean, I'm almost there. I'm almost there for the biggest things. Yeah, I think this is probably fine for today, so let's go with funny flathead, headless Shalom. She seems more amused by all this than I am. Alright, that's... yeah, I think that is where I will end it. So, thank you all for coming. If you'd like me to take a look at your own creative projects, whether that be art, writing, coding, game design, any creative pursuit you can think of, feel free to message me on Twitter or Instagram, and I'll take a look and maybe leave some comments. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Goodbye.